Kellogg's, the world's leading seller of cereals, was an ultimate failure in India initially despite offering quality products. And the one main reason for this failure was incorrect market positioning. But today, Kellogg's is one of the market leaders in the Indian cereal segment and has captured over half of the Indian cereal market. One of the prominent reasons for this turnaround and success is right market positioning. So guys, you are of course intelligent enough to understand that market positioning is something very important and it might become a major reason for a brand's success or failure. According to a research, incorrect positioning was the key reason behind 80% of the brand failures. But the question is, what is market positioning? In simple words, it means the image of your brand in the consumer's mind. It is a very strategic process where a brand tries to establish an image or identity within the minds of the consumers in the target market. For example, Apple has positioned itself as a secure and luxury smartphone, whereas MI or Xiaomi has positioned itself as an affordable smartphone. So hello everyone, today's episode is based on the journey of Kellogg's from failure to success in the Indian markets. We'll also understand in detail what went wrong for Kellogg's and we'll also discover how it recovered from its initial failure. Besides that, in the later part of the video, we'll not just walk you through the trends in the Indian cereal market but also reveal about a business war which might happen in future. So be with us till the end. Before entering in India in 1994, Kellogg's had attained a stupendous success in the United States. So guys, before starting out with anything, let's take a glance at the history of Kellogg's, which dates back to 1894 when an American physician, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, invented cornflakes as a healthy cereal for his patients. And in 1906, his younger brother W.K. Kellogg saw some business in it and founded the Kellogg Company. And ladies and gentlemen, Kellogg's cornflakes was a super success in the US. By the 1980s, Kellogg's occupied almost 40% of the market share in the US, and they also had expanded to 18 countries with an annual sales over $6 billion. After this huge success, Kellogg's almost reached the peak in the US and started searching for a potential market where they can expand into. And after a thorough research, they finalized India. And they chose India for primarily two reasons. First, the large market size, and second, there were no prominent cereal brand in India. Their mindset was, since there is no prominent brand in the cereal segment and even if they just acquire 2% of the entire Indian consumer base, their earnings in India would surpass the US. But a major question which Kellogg's didn't take seriously was, were the Indian consumers ready to accept breakfast cereals? Nevertheless, in 1994, Kellogg's inaugurated its first manufacturing plant in Mumbai with a grand high-profile launch. And they made the hype in such a way that for the first very few months, their sales were very good enough. But within a year of its launch, they noticed that there were very few repeat customers. And for every 100 packets sold, 2 were bought by regular customers while the rest were the first-time customers. And slowly, the sales started declining. The three main reasons for these failures were, first, the wrong positioning, second, the wrong communication, and third, wrong pricing. The eating habits of Indians were far different from the West. Also, cereal as a breakfast was new to Indians. And the two very main USPs or unique selling points which Kellogg's focused on were crispiness of the flakes and healthy breakfast as compared to the existing options. Their tagline was, "Jago jaise hi, lo Kellogg's hi." This is where Kellogg's went wrong. Kellogg's didn't account for the diversified eating habits of Indians. Indian breakfasts were not just heavy but also quite diversified. For example, people in North India preferred parathas while people in South preferred idli or baras. And since cereal were new to Indians, thus to make them shift to cereals was in itself a huge task. Moreover, the way Kellogg's communicated was not fairly digested by the Indians. In the initial advertisements, Kellogg's showed that what the Indian public was having in their breakfast was not at all healthy. Also, another cultural aspect which Kellogg's couldn't understand was that Indians loved something hot for breakfast, and having cornflakes with a hot milk made the cornflakes soggy, which clearly differed from the crispness which the brand promised. Also, ladies and gentlemen, there are two sides to every marketing equation. Are you selling what the people want? And can you sell that at a price which people can afford? And here also Kellogg's stumbled. When Kellogg's made its debut in the Indian markets, a company named Mohan McCain was already selling cornflakes. And the price difference between the Kellogg's products and those of its local rivals were as high as 33%. So owing to these shortcomings in analyzing the consumer needs and the market size, Kellogg's failed brutally in the Indian market. But the question is, how come Kellogg's became the market leader in the Indian cereal segment? What strategies did they use to make a comeback in India? After identifying the need gaps and shortcomings in the market entry strategy, Kellogg's majorly worked on 4 strategies to make a comeback. First, they improved the brand positioning and communication. Second, they Indianized the products. Third, they tried to improve the supply chain strategy. And fourth, they reduced the price. Following such failures, Kellogg's realized that it is very tough to compete against the Indian traditional breakfast. Also, after many reiterations and experiments, in 1996, finally Kellogg's came up with Chocos. And in 1997, they introduced Frosties. They shifted their target towards kids. Instead of positioning themselves as an alternative to the Indian traditional breakfast, they now positioned their product as a fun-filled mid-meal snacks, which can be consumed between the meals or in the evening to fulfill the nutrition. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, this strategy of targeting kids worked. Not just did they gain a valuable position in the market, but also became a go-to option for the mothers. In 1999, they positioned Cornflakes as Iron Shakti Cornflakes and targeted to address the iron deficiency in children. During that time, Kellogg's was the only company to talk about iron supplements, and this became a differentiating factor, resulting in a 17% increase in sales. Marketing using the words like Iron Shakti and improving the brand communication impacted the Indian consumers. But another major challenge was the high price. And to reduce the price, they need to improve the efficiency. And to improve the efficiency, they need to strengthen the supply chain. Thus here, the pricing and supply chain efficiency works hand in hand. And guys, to improve the supply chain management process, Kellogg started procuring the raw materials and packaging within India, which saved the import duty. Kellogg's located its manufacturing plant at Taloja near Mumbai. Taloja is the largest market for breakfast cereals in India. Thus, the location of manufacturing plant near the leading market optimized the transportation cost. With all such strategies in place, Kellogg's optimized the efficiency, and as a result of which the pricing was also optimized. Also, Kellogg's brought down the price substantially to attract the price-conscious customers. And steadily, Kellogg's made a comeback in the Indian market. And today, Kellogg's is sitting at a majestic 56% market share in the Indian cereal market. However, recently the cereal leader entered into the traditional Indian breakfast like upma. This went viral as the company which entered India to replace the traditional breakfast and change the consumer behavior itself entered into the traditional Indian breakfast. Even Anand Mahindra tweeted on this, and many people made a claim that even after being the market leader, Kellogg's isn't as successful as they expected to be. But is it true? If we take a look at the Indian breakfast cereal market, it was valued at Rs 2,200 crore in 2017, which grew at a 12% CAGR to Rs 3,400 crores in 2020. And the growth rate has almost doubled during the pandemic. Also, as per the trends, people are switching to a healthier options. So the future is quite bright for the cereals market in India. But the reason Kellogg's is coming up with ready-to-cook upma is because the ready-to-eat and the ready-to-cook market is exploding. And Kellogg's of course don't want to leave this opportunity. So in that case, in coming years, we might see a very tough and fierce competition between Kellogg's and the existing ready-to-eat and ready-to-cook giants like MTR Foods and McCain. So that's all for today, guys. Do like the video if you found it interesting and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.